Hey there, Alan Matthews here from Classical Guitar Shed, and in this here video we're going to look at how to read chord charts. When we have a piece of music and we see the chord symbols, we could even have the staff of music, the notes on the music notation, or it could just have the words with the chords above it. We're going to talk about how to make that into music coming out of our guitar in just a second. Alright, so what is a chord chart? A chord chart could be many things, but here we have a piece of music. This is Ode to Joy. And so if you'll notice, we have a line of music with the notes. Then we also have these chords written above it, C, G, C, G. And so this is what makes this a chord chart. Otherwise, it would just be a piece of music, right? It would just be sheet music. But this makes it into a chord chart. You'll oftentimes see as well just a single melody line with the chords. And so you won't see the full guitar arrangement with all the different accompanimental voices and every chord's written out, all that. But just a single line, just a single melody written on the staff, and then you'll have the chords above it. It could have words or it could not have words, either way. So whenever we do this, the first thing that we need to know is this right here. This is the time signature. And so that is how many beats will count in each measure. So 4 beats, the top number is how many beats per measure. So 4, the bottom notes is what kind of note gets the beat. That's the quarter note. And so you don't have to know that. The main thing is that you have to look at that top number and say, I'm counting to 4. So that's the one that counts. So if you'll notice with this, I chose this nice, easy example because it has 4 notes per chord. It's very simple so that we can look at it. Now, in case you're not familiar with musical notation, we have these things right here called bar lines. That's what splits each little segment into the 4 beats. Even if, like this bar right here has 3 notes in it, but it's still 4 beats because these notes add up to, this is 1.5, 1/2, and then 2 beats. It adds up to 4. So within each of the bars, which is this, then we're going to have 4 beats. We're going to count to 4 within that. So then we have to know these chords. Then we can look up here and say, do I know a C and do I know a G? Once I've satisfied, yes, I know all the chords that I'm going to need in this piece, then we can move on to the next step of that. And that is actually playing the music. So then it's most important to get on time, to get to the new chord on time, than it is to last all 4. So one of the things that beginners sometimes do is they say, okay, 4 C's, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what's the next chord? Oh, G. Now I have that. Well, that G measure's already gone by the time you actually figure out that it's a G and where you put your fingers. So instead, it's most important to get to the new chord on time. So what we're going to do is we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 for this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're just going to constantly count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 throughout. And if you say, oh, I don't like to count, well, then you're deluding yourself, and it's just because it's hard. But if you count, you will be on time, and if you don't, then there's a higher chance that you won't be on time. Here's another thing: you cannot trust your foot to tell you what you don't know yourself. So if you think that your foot's just going to go and you're going to be able to trust that, then you're deluding yourself there as well, because your foot will get completely off and you won't even know it, because it's not a sentient being unto itself. So here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then another way is to begin is to clap this. So now we have the chords fall on the 1 of each measure here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, new chord, 2, 3, 4, new chord. So that's the most important thing. So that's step 1 when doing this. And that means that we can take all this time right here to get to this next C. So we don't have to hold the previous chord on the entire time. What matters is that we get to the new chord on time. So here we have C to begin with. We have 1, 2, now move, 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 and G. 2, move, and C. 2, move, and G. So you can, if you're not fast at moving your chords, you can just do 1 beat. C, change, 3, 4. G, change, 3, 4. So you can change as soon as you need to. The most important part is that you land on the chord when it is appropriate to land on the chord, which is, in this case, on the first beat of each measure. And a common question is, what should I be doing with my right hand? Should I strum it? What kind of strum should I use? It doesn't really matter at this point. If you're just grabbing the chords, you can use your thumb as a downstroke. You can use a single finger as a downstroke. If you know a strumming pattern, you can use that, but to start with, I would just use a single finger, whatever finger you like, and just do a single downstroke on the 1, and just let that be good until you get that. The next step from this is to start filling in this space. So then you would start splitting this in half. So instead of just 1 per chord, we could now have 2 per measure. So 2 per chord here. So now we have on the 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, change. 1, 2, 3, change. 1. It could help to really say the word change if you want to, just for a couple of times in practice, to tell yourself when exactly you're going to change. Because if you wait too long, you'll be late, and that's what we want. So 1, 2, 1. No, now change. Well, now you're late. So 1, 2, 3, change. 1, 2, 3, change. As we go through. Now, one of the things that you'll notice in this music, there's a lot of steady beats, right? The strumming, the accompaniment, does not necessarily match the rhythm of the melody. So if you see that, really, if you're singing along, dun, da, da, dun, 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 dun. Don't do that, because that is not accompaniment anymore. It's just matching the melody. So at the end, dun, 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 keep it steady as a rock. After you're good with 2 strums per measure, then you can go into 4 strums per measure, or 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, change. 1, 2, 3, change. That still gives you time to change your chord with your left hand if you need to. At that point, you can start to look at other strumming patterns, finger picking patterns, whatever it happens to be that you would like to do. But the main thing is that you get to the new chord on time. So the next thing that we'll see in chord charts is that you'll find 2 chords per measure. And whenever you have 2 chords per measure, usually it's going to split in half. So if we're in 4/4 time, which we are, then we're going to split on the 1 and the 3. 2 beats each for. So for this one, we have G, G, C, and G to C, G, and they're just even Steven. As accompaniment, as just playing the chords, we need it to be steady, predictable, and to just play the harmony, which is the chords. So then that's it. On some songs, you'll find that the chord needs to happen at a specific point in time, and then you'll probably know that from either the notation or from just knowing the song. But you can always just fake it as well, and if it's wrong right there, then it's just, it's not the end of the world. So as an example of a tune not in 4/4, here we have 3/4. If I was to do this is Moon River. If I was to first learn this, then I would go through the exact same thing. I would say, okay, I need to play on the 1 each time, the chords. Do I know my chords? Yes. And then when do I need to change my chords? All that kind of stuff. So then you could play through it, and as you sing or not, but 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you just do that first. And then if you'd like to, you can then add in any sort of pattern. I'm just going to do a basic boom chuck chuck here. So that you can do anything you want, so now we're getting this into beautiful accompanimental patterns, and then that is the sky's the limit. You can do anything you want, so long as your notes add up to 3 beats per measure for this particular tune. As you get into singing, if you want to sing and play at the same time, which is a lovely thing to do, then one of the ways to get better at that is to simplify your strumming so that it is just really just the square 1 strumming on the downbeat. Part of my singing, Moon River, wider than a mile. So that you keep the strumming really simple, to begin with, and then you start fleshing it out once you can have the basic structure of what you're doing, which is your voice, your chords, your strumming, at least on the downbeat. So then you can get each one of those, can get better with your voice, different chords, and more elaborate finger picking patterns after that. So this is how to read chord charts. Very useful skill, even if you're a classical guitarist or and don't typically sing Moon River, then it's still incredibly useful because in your pieces, the chords are how the guitar is organized. And so your pieces of music are chords as well. All right. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't, and I'll talk to you soon.